paid speaking events, what every speaker wishes they knew. Hi, it's Stacy Peterson, funny motivational speaker. And today is part of my Speaker Sunday series where I give tips and tricks on Sundays for people who wish to become a professional speaker. And it's all stuff that I've learned on my own journey of doing so, which I feel like I have to give a caveat right away because I know I'll get a comment. I did get done speaking this morning, which is why my hair is a mess. My eyelash is starting to come off. I got smeared lipstick. I'm tired. I get tired when I speak. But today I want to share with you just some of the basics on how to find paid speaking engagements. Now, when I first started, people would say how they got paid speaking engagements, and they used all of these acronyms, and I had no idea what they were talking about. So today we're going to learn about RFPs, and that stands for Request for Proposals for Speakers. And this is how they work. And I'm also actually going to I'm going to screen share and take you through one that's actually up right now that you could submit for, and kind of show you some of the tips and tricks on filling those out and what I do. So a request for proposal comes from conferences when they are looking for speakers. Now, a lot of times the speakers that they are looking for with these requests for proposals or speaker submissions is what are called breakout speakers or special session speakers. So you have your main stage keynote speakers, which can be the big names, not necessarily, but they can be. So it might be someone like, depending on the size of the conference, it might be Michael Jordan is the keynote speaker. But then they're looking for speakers to fill out their concurrent sessions, those breakout sessions, which is where you have several speakers speaking at the same time in different rooms on different topics. I personally have found that most requests for proposals, RFPs, are for breakout speakers, those breakout sessions. Now, you might be thinking, well, how do you know they're paid? Or I don't want to be a breakout speaker. I want to be the main stage speaker. Well, I can tell you just because it's a breakout session does not mean that it is not paid. A lot of times they're not, but a lot of times they are. So the breakout sessions tend to be industry specific speakers, which is, let's say you are in sales. Sales breakouts might be sales with AI, sales mindset, sales for Gen Z. Like they're industry specific by industry experts. But a lot of times they'll also bring in people who aren't industry experts, like someone like me, who is more of a life skills person. So communication, leadership, stress management, those types of things. They'll bring in an outside speaker for a breakout session or what they call a special session, and those can be paid. So a very simple place for you to start is with these RFPs, request for proposals. And I know, like I said, I only want to be a keynote or a main stage. But if you're just starting out, any stage time matters. I truly believe in reps of getting up and getting in front of people and honing your message and honing your craft. Now, I personally have been hired to do a breakout session, and they brought me back the following year as a keynote. So it can be a door into the main stage, the main keynote stage of these large conferences. So today I'm going to show you how I find them and kind of typically what they ask for and are looking for. And the first thing I'm going to screen share is that what you'll be looking at originally, I find through Sam Richter's Intel Engine. And I'm going to do a whole separate session on that and do a review. I have personally tried a lot of different softwares. I've done association executives. I've done paid sales, leads, this kind of thing. I've just done Google alerts to try and find conferences to apply to be a speaker for, and none of them have been as an effective and saved me as much time for the price as Sam's. So I'll share with you Sam Richter's Intel engine that I use to find these RFPs and also to reach out to conference people in general if I am only interested in applying for the keynote. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to screen share. Okay, first you can see what a mess my desktop is. Right now what we're looking at is, and I'm going to move my face, is I am inside Sam Richter's Intel engine. And again, I'll do a whole separate session on how I use this. But what I've done is I have just simply typed in June 2024, which is the month and the year that I am currently filming this. And I put in over here on keywords, I put in speaker submission. Now I could also put in request for proposal, but that's just what I did. I did a speaker submissions and I'm going to click on find a conference. So this is basically a deep dive into Google where it's helped pull out some of these RFPs, requests for proposals, speaker submissions. And I'm just scrolling through and I'm just going to pick one. And right here it says submit your presentation for the 2025 WEMSA conference. And I have not pre-checked this, so we're doing it together live here. Well, not live because it's recorded. And I'm going to click on there and see where it brings me. So here we go. Right here, the Wisconsin EMS Association. Speakers, submit your presentation for the 2025, I'm going to say WEMSA conference, is now open. And the deadline, it began May 1st through June 30th. So I know that it's going to, my submission is valid. It hasn't passed its expiration date because RFPs are only open for a certain number of weeks. And sometimes the bigger the conference, it seems the shorter the window. So that is something to keep in mind. They only open up for a little bit at a time. So here we have some information on the conference. It's in January. I know I have that date available. It's in Green Bay. I would love to go. Here's some things that they're interested in for proposals, for speakers to come in and speak. It does say that we are particularly interested in proposals that focus on critical care and ALS specific courses. Now, I am not certified. I am not an industry expert in any of those things. However, a lot of times associations have something called continuing education credits or units. So CEUs is another acronym you'll hear. Now, sometimes that requires professional development, personal development, leadership development. I'm under those tracks. And there has to be a certain number of CEUs for them to continue getting their accreditation or keeping their certificate, whatever it is they have, which is why even though I'm not knowledge specific on those two things, I still want to submit a presentation. So it'll have a button almost always. You will submit here, and then it's going to go through and you're going to have an online form. And this is really, really normal. Okay. It's going to have your name. It's going to have your organization, because if you are an industry specific expert, sometimes your company might be sponsoring you to speak. I'm not that. So I just give the name of my business as a speaker. I'm giving my information here, my address, my biography. And this one is actually a little bit short. I'm not going to fill it all out. The biography sometimes will, it's basically, your bio. Sometimes they do have a specific word count. And I use something called Word Counter. It's free, it's online, and I'll put a link in below. And I will take my bio, because if it's 200 characters or 200 words, that's a very different size bio in each. I will make sure that I am following directions correctly. Because if it's a 200 character bio versus a 200-word bio and my bio is too long, I'm automatically most likely going to be rejected for that conference because I wasn't paying attention and I gave them the wrong size bio. Why does a bio matter? Why does your biography matter? Well, one, they want to know who you are, but two, should you get selected, that is what goes into their publication. So, you know how if you go to a conference and they have the little handout booklet, or you go online and you scroll and you're reading about different sections of a conference, they'll have the speaker bio. So they're already preparing for that because they're just going to simply cut and paste right off the bat of whatever you submit. Now, I have never seen one ask for a current resume until today. New things. And they do almost always ask for a professional headshot. And the reason is the same. Should your session be selected, you will need to have your photo on the program. And they're just going to, again, they're going to upload it and it's all there for whoever they choose so that they don't have to go and search for speakers and be like, hey, I need your bio, I need this, I need that. The other thing too that I want you to notice is that it says if you have any questions and they do give an email. So every once in a while, not always, because they don't always appreciate this, if I am only interested in the keynote, I will email and say, hey, I noticed your speaker submission is open. Have you selected your keynote speakers yet? If not, here is, and then I'll give the details of my bio, my website, my demo reel, all the information that they need. I've worked with conferences exactly like yours with these keynotes. Here's some testimonials from it. And I would love to be considered as your keynote speaker or a special session. So I can do that if you want. I don't necessarily, if you don't have any prior experience as a keynoter or you're just being annoying, like spamming them, don't do that. Okay. I can already tell that I'm not gonna be able to click next. So what I'm gonna do is go backwards because I'm gonna try and find a different one because, let's see, let's go here. Let's look at this one. Now this one's already gonna be closed. Let's, because I'm looking at the dates, that's how I know. A call for presentations. This one is due June 7th. This is all the information that you're going to want to read through. They have the contact. Here, I am interested in being a keynote. A concurrent is the breakout that I discussed earlier. Okay. Then, okay, this is what I was hoping. This is the second really important part. Is you're going to need your presentation title, the title of your keynote. And then you need a description. And if you look, it says right here, maximum 250 words in length. This is exactly why I use word counter. If it's 251 words, I don't want to get X'd out because I didn't pay attention. And again, it's because of the publication. They're going to use whatever you put in that keynote description to get people to come to your session for the conference. So here's the thing with your titles. I see a lot of really boring titles. That is a whole other video. But your title should explain what it is you're talking about, but it should have some curiosity. Like you want to make, it's got to have a little bit of a hook to it where it makes people do a double take. Like it's not your typical 7 steps to leadership. Like everybody's got that and it's boring, okay? So you want something that's a little more intriguing. So I like one of my sessions is the 7 habits of highly stressful people. It's for whatever reason, people get curious because I'm making fun of a book title and the stress part of it. So they're like, wait, what? But I do give 7 habits of how to lower your stress. So it does explain what I'm talking about, but it's a little more creative, it's a little more fun, and it gives people a double take. The same with the detailed description. I'm not going to sit and outline everything you're going to learn. Okay. It's going to be a general overview, but again, I don't want it to be boring. I want it to be interesting, something that shows, that sets me apart from all the other stress and resilience speakers who are going to apply. Because there's going to be several and that I'm competing against. And if my description is more interesting, then it puts me ahead of the game, and it also makes me sound like I'm going to be a more interesting speaker, which I probably am. Okay. So when it comes to your detailed description, it should explain what you're talking about, but I'm going to encourage you to add some creativity or to point out what's different about your take and how you're going to share this than every other speaker in your genre. The next one is learning outcomes. Now this one says 1 to 2. They almost always ask for 3. So that is the takeaways. You'll also see that word in there, takeaways. The takeaways are what the audience is going to walk away with having learned. So nobody wants to bring a motivational speaker in that fell off Mount Everest and chopped off their arm and was amazing and everybody's inspired, but they've learned zero practical application in their own life, because 99% of us ain't climbing Mount Everest. I know I'm not. It sounds cold and painful. So it's not relatable to me. However, if you were to take that same thing and you were to say, you're going to learn how to use this in leadership by overcoming hardships, by finding your resilience, and there's certain practical applications within it that every audience member can take away with, that's key, huge. Anybody who says they can speak on anything, A, cannot speak on anything, and B, well, I just want to motivate people, it doesn't mean anything. You won't get hired. You have to have practical things they'll learn and walk away with. So and like I said, it's almost always 3. So I'm surprised that there's just 2 outcomes. And here they just say it right there. Participants will be able to understand how to get along with difficult people. Participants will be able to use my 5-step process in becoming a more engaged leader. Okay, that could be something like that. And then this particular RFP is asking for a brief outline of the content. I have had a few people ask for outlines, and that's just basically where you're just going to kind of write out the structure and how it loops back to whatever it is that you're sharing. Okay, this is important. List the learner engagement strategies. So, if you've ever sat through a conference or math class, I don't like math. If you've ever sat through math class, it is brutal in that it's so boring to someone like me, or you've sat through that really boring teacher who just vomits facts and there's zero engagement. That is not what they're looking for in a speaker. I don't care what your genre is. I don't care how detailed, how technical you are. There has to be some form of engagement for the audience. This could be humor. This could be in stories. This could be the fact that you do audience participation. This could be that you have handouts and worksheets. This could be that you're a panel and you're going to have question and answer time. It could be technology, like you're going to have participants do polling in real time on the audience. They're basically, all they're asking for is, are you boring? Like, are you actually going to deliver something that's interesting and we're not going to get complaints about? That's what this question is about. Now, a lot of times you will be asked for references. The references almost always, if you can, should be from other meeting planners. Sometimes that's hard, especially when you're first starting out. So that's something that you want to build And if you do a speaking thing and it goes well, whether it's an attendee or it's the person who hired you or it's the CEO, and they say, "Oh, you did such a good job," and you say, "Oh, thank you. Is it all right if I use you as a reference?" Um, I usually do that via email. Like I'll follow up because I'll get, I'll engage after the event with whoever hired me. And if they're pleased, I'll say, "Is it all right if I use you for future events for a reference?" I've never had anyone say no except one, and it was only because um, it was a government entity that is like, they can't release any names, they can't do any of that kind of stuff. So it was a secrecy thing, not a secrecy thing, but I basically, yeah, that is what it is. I just don't know. I don't know the right word for it. So here are references. Now this one, oh, I'm sorry, this is APA format. So what this means is if you're going to go in and you're going to give like a clinical study, that's what they're wanting. Sorry, but most RFPs do ask for references. So that's what that's for. I should have read it first, but I did not. The standard audio visual equipment that you need. Um, and that is like, do you need a projector? Are you using PowerPoint? Do you need cables? Do you need a laptop? Do you need a remote? Do you need a stool, a table? What do you need? And I'm going to say to you to keep it as simple as possible for them, because we all kind of just need the same thing most of the time. If you have a very complicated setup, you may want to just put in there, because I do magic, or I do certain experiments and audience participation. I have a unique setup, and I'm going to upload a document that explains it so that they could look through it, something like that. A lot of times they do not ask you about a fee. So this right here, speaker fee honorarium, if necessary for participation, list the required fee. And so you can put that right in there. My speaking fee is blank dollars. Most of the time they don't put that. So I put it up in my talk description. So I'll do the talk description or the learning objectives, and I will say require speaker fee blank, and then I give the number, so that they know right away I'm not interested in coming in for free. There's only been one time where someone missed that and they thought that I was coming in for free, and I was like, no. And so then I didn't end up doing the event, only because it wasn't an event that I was going to get spin. I wasn't in front of an audience that could rehire me. And it was going to cost me money to travel. It just wasn't like, it made no business sense for me personally. So I did not do that particular event. And then travel requirements. So I personally have a flat rate travel fee. I'm not going to share my fees, but I have a flat rate travel fee that includes everything except I do ask that they give me one night's hotel at the venue. And I do that for a couple of reasons. A lot of times they have a discount, they automatically have that budgeted because they're expecting to do that. And so it's just easier for me. But sometimes at these higher level conferences, and you're staying in a nice location, it's not like you're staying at the Best Western. Okay, you're staying at like a $500 a night hotel room, and that's like a huge chunk of my travel fee. So by the time I have flights, I have hotel parking, I have mileage, I have food, I have Uber and Lyft to and from, or a car rental, and then I have like this blank amount of hotel fees. It can really add up. Most of the time, they cover my hotel. And I usually ask for one night, and I will pay for the second, because I do not fly in and speak the same day anymore, ever, if I can help it, because there's just so many things that can go wrong with travel. and I'm not at my best. I'm tired when I've been, plane hopping and up since 2 a.m. I want to do a good job and not be stressed. So I will fly in the night before, check out the venue, meet the meeting planners, go through the conference room, prepare overnight. And then because I'm speaking, a lot of times I can't get a flight out in time. If I can, I will fly home late night, but a lot of times I can't. I can't get to the last flight out. So that's what I personally do. So, anyways, you go ahead and you fill this request for proposal out, you submit it, and then you just wait. And then I call it rejection season. RFP rejection season, because there's a flow to a lot of conferences. There's a lot of conferences in April, there's a lot of conferences September and October. And so there's kind of the RFPs are kind of open a lot around the same time frame. And it's one after the other of thank you so much, but basically we found someone better. And please come, here's a discount. And I always laugh because I think that's like being on a dating website and applying for a date. And they're like, no, I actually went with this chick, but come to dinner and watch us be happy together. That's what it sounds like to me. So I call it rejection season. You just start getting these slew of rejection letters, and then you will get hopefully a few. Now, some people do not fill out RFPs because they think it's a waste of time and it takes too long and they want to go directly to the meeting planner. And that's fine. I'm more passive. I'm not good on the phone. I'm not great at sales. So for me, the RFPs is more a security blanket comfort method, and knowing that I'm reaching X amount of conferences and doing my job, but I don't have to actually do the terrifying thing of picking up the phone because as an introvert, it's just a disaster. Um, and I do get hired off of these. Yes, it's more time consuming than a phone call, but like I said, it makes me happier as a person. It makes me like my job better to be able to do it this way. So RFPs, again, requests for proposals, are a very simple way to apply for conferences for paid speaking engagements. Now, you will run into RFPs that will say right up front, we do not pay our speakers. Don't apply. And if it doesn't say, then go ahead and put your fee requirement somewhere within there so that they are aware not to hire you without knowing that you require some type of fee. So I am going to go ahead and do a thing on Sam Richter's stuff. I'll also put a link to Sam's stuff below on this video as well. It is an affiliate link, but I love his thing. Like, I don't use anything else now but Sam's. It's so great. So I will record that next.